So that could be, I mean, that looks like bass to me, the one that's down here on its own. There's a couple little isolated pieces of cover up here. They're not really grouped up out here, but I mean, usually they get here this time of year, so.
And they're right where they should be. They're right there on that depth change.
Yep, right on the end of that little break there. So we'll spin around and make a few casts and see.
Jason and I came and scanned this little creek ledge, and there wasn't a whole bunch of fish down here, but there were a couple, and the current's not really moving today, so they're not real grouped up. They're kind of scattered on different pieces of cover down there on the bottom. So right now is when bottom contact is really important, because you want to dredge that crankbait across the bottom, and when you knock off something and that crankbait kicks out to the side, that's when you're going to get a lot of your bites. More of a reaction strike than anything. You see my hands right here. I'm reeling that crankbait, I'm stopping it, I'll jerk it every now and then. You want to make it do something different. Anything that will elicit a reaction strike will really increase your chances. So instead of just reeling it like this, you know, if you're not getting any bites doing that, just try to switch it up. You know, it's not going to hurt anything. Sometimes they want a really slow retrieve. Sometimes they want it faster. And they'll tell you, but you have to listen to them. You know, I mean, maybe make a few casts kind of crawling it like this. And your next cast, burn it. And your next cast, kind of change it up. That's why you see a lot of the pros when they're out there cranking, they're ripping it, they're stopping it, ripping it, stopping it. It's very important to make your bait deflect and act erratic down there. You know, and the beauty about crankbait fishing is you can actually pattern your retrieves. You know, a lot of people consider patterning fish areas. You know, I caught one on a secondary point, I can go to another secondary point and catch one. That's all good, but you can actually pattern your retrieve. So, and it's going to change every day. So that's why it's so important to experiment throughout your fishing day. You know, I've been catching a lot of fish today, burning it. So for the rest of the day, until I quit getting bit, I'm going to burn this crankbait. But you could come back to this spot tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, or even this afternoon, and they might want something a little slower. So it's always important to change and keep an open mind. All right, so when you're fishing deep diving crankbaits, you know, this one today happens to be a Sprode Little John DD. It's important to be efficient. And by efficient, I mean getting that crankbait down to the proper operating depth as quickly as you can. So these deep diving crankbaits have big old lips on them. And what that does, it helps them dive down to the operating depth quickly. So the best way to get your crankbait down in that strike zone is to make, like I said, a long cast. And you just want to, once it lands in the water, it's real pretty fast. You kind of want to burn it. And then you'll start feeling it hitting bottom like it is right there. It'll start hitting bottom, and then you can kind of slow it down, and then you can start experimenting with your retrieves. And a lot of the times, you know, people will get lazy on the ends of their casts. Like right here, this crankbait's starting to come up. A lot of times that change in direction is what triggers that bite. So when that crankbait's running horizontal, and then all of a sudden it turns vertical to come back up to the boat, that's when you're gonna get those bites. I like to use a 7-foot, 10-inch usually cranking rod, because it really loads up nicely on the back cast, and you can just launch it without really much effort at all. And I like to use 10-pound fluorocarbon line when I'm doing this. It allows crankbait to dive a little bit deeper. A lot of people get frustrated when they're fishing crankbaits, because when the fish comes up and eats it, it's probably usually going to get the back hook. And when you have a rod that's too stiff, you're going to pull that crankbait away from that fish too quick. You need to give that fish a chance to get preferably both hooks in its mouth. So that's why you want a good soft rod. Give that bass a chance to load up on it. There's one. Good one. Pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Easy.
See this rod right here? absorbing every run that fish makes. It's not pulling the hook out of its mouth. See, and like I said earlier, that fish has one hook in its mouth. And if you're using a rod that's too stiff, you're gonna pull that hook out. So a nice parabolic bend is what you need, because a heavier rod would have lost that fish.
Check us out at wired2fish.com.